Hi, and welcome to episode 144 of C3 Crystals, Cauldrons, and Cocktails. I'm Ren,
And I'm River.
and today we are going to talk about haunted forests, woo, and how they
Yay.
can relate to witchcraft. I mean, we all love a good haunted forest.
Absolutely.
But first, what are we drinking? So, in honor of forests, we are calling this one the Mystic Woodlands. It's a mix of grenadine, cream de cocoa, and cake vodka. It's super sweet and super delicious and super fun.
It is. I actually like this one, even though it's sweet. It's
It's
that chocolate cake flavor with a little
mhm.
bit of like, I can't describe grenadine as a flavor, but kind of cherryish. I
Mm,
don't know. That's not the right. But anyway, it's very good.
it's delicious and
It
it's more of
dangerous.
like a dessert, yes.
Yes, it would be a great dessert
hmm
cocktail.
Super
That would
sweet. It's amazing.
that would be. Yeah, for
hmm
sure.
I don't know if there's anything else for us to talk about before we get into our topic.
We're back at work and home
Yeah,
from
no
the
more vacation.
mountains.
Boo.
Boo. Not
Um,
not fun.
mm-mm. But I guess let's go to our topic.
I guess so. I guess that's it.
So, for witches, haunted forests are not merely places of fear, but also sites of great magical potential. So, the allure of haunted forests, I want to say,
Hmm.
is that haunted forests, bear with me. Haunted forests capture the imagination with their eerie atmospheres and tales of supernatural occurrences.
Yeah, I agree. They're like places that are have stories or are marked by unexplained phenomenon. You can see ghostly apparitions like the will-o-wisps or things that you see in
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
forests. There's that whole palpable sense of otherworldliness. And then for witches, that is a great source of energy for us
Oh yeah.
and potential gateways too.
Mm-hmm.
So there are supposedly haunted for thought to have powerful energy vortexes where the veil
Oh.
between the physical and the spiritual world is thinner.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can find one of these places, you can amplify your magical workings and better communicate with spirits. So historically, the haunted forests have dark histories, like they might have been a place of a great battle or a place of a tragedy or places where witches maybe were persecuted. And so these lingering energies from these events can contribute to the haunted ambience that you feel in these hor horrifying haunted places.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Okay. I love a good haunted forest, but I also don't like they creep me out,
Hmm.
obviously. They give you the
Obviously.
creeps and the vibes that are not vibing. But it's also, I don't know, it's mysterious and you
Yeah.
want to go in and figure out what's there and I don't know. I
Yes.
think about like the misty, foggy, dense
I
forest.
I always think about the Forbidden Forest from Harry Potter.
I mean, yeah, that
Yeah,
is one, yes.
it was scary and there were scary things in there.
Yeah, especially spiders. We don't do
Yeah.
spiders here.
Mm-mm.
But these dense concentration of trees and natural features in forests can create a resonant environment that kind of magnifies supernatural occurrences.
Hmm.
So it could be like the rustling of the trees, the creaking branches, and hidden wildlife all around that can contribute to that sense of unknown.
Hmm.
So I like to think of haunted forests as an ideal place for spirit communication. Just something about it feels more, I don't want to say down to earth, but it feels more down to earth and more,
It's
what's the
like
word I'm looking
that I
for?
don't know. It's like there's a presence there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great for that type of like spirit communication and
Hmm.
mediumship, if that's what you want to call it.
Hmm.
So, witches might use this location to contact and work with spirits that dwell there or seek guidance, protection, or insight. Now, I like that there's like that dwell there in that location,
Mm-hmm.
but I also like that maybe forests are more than just locational. It's more of like a connection of, all the roots and everything connect and connects the
I like
world.
that.
And so I like
Mm-hmm.
that maybe you can tap into anything else from around the world, not just necessarily where you are.
That's a good point. I hadn't thought of that.
Hmm. And then, of course, the energy is so intense that you can probably do enhanced rituals and spell work where
Mm-hmm.
you could perform protection spells. It doesn't always have to be like this bad, eerie
That's
vibe.
true.
Like you can perform protection spells, banishing rituals, divination sessions, anything within eerie, spooky, haunted forest vibes. I
Yeah,
really like thinking of it as like harnessing that energy to boost your magic.
I feel like it would be a great place to do shadow work.
Oh, yeah.
It's we're confronting our own darker side, so to speak, and
Hmm.
so it seems fitting that a haunted forest would be a place where we would confront that.
Hmm.
That atmosphere can help facilitate, introspection and transformation and help us release fears and past
I
traumas.
don't know. I don't want, okay, just me. I don't want like a spooky haunted forest. And then I delve into deeper spooky things of myself. And then I'm like, let's say I know last week I was talking about like astral projection and
Mm-hmm.
sleeping, like the sleep my brain sleep portion of that and how you can
Mm-hmm.
doze and
Yeah,
all of
yeah,
that. So let's
yeah.
say you are doing shadow work via astral projection. So you're somewhere laying on the floor bed of this eerie forest, and then you find something eerie within yourself, and then you like want to like come back to your body and wake up, and you're still in an eerie setting. Like I
Yeah,
just feel like I don't know.
everything's dark.
I need rainbows and stuffed animals and kittens all around me when I'm doing
Yeah,
shadow work. It makes me feel
yeah.
better.
That's a very fair statement. I think that is very good to, when you're delving into that inner darkness to have light and fluffy outside when you come
Hmm.
out.
Hmm.
Good point. I think it's also a great place to make offerings and honor the dead.
Oh yeah.
You can leave offerings for the spirits of the forest, like food or flour or crafted items.
Hmm.
And, these can be like respect and help you to build a positive relationship with whatever spirit inhabits that area,
Hmm.
which I guess you need to know what kind of spirits there might be there. You need to know the legends of the different
Hmm.
forests, which
Oh yeah.
we're going to tell you later
Yes.
on in this
Yes.
episode.
But there are a lot of forests that have these vibes.
Hmm.
And I think it is very important to be respectful, especially if you're going into these forests.
Hmm. Kind of
And
like when you go into a graveyard, the same thing,
yeah.
you
Yeah.
know.
Are you comparing haunted forests to graveyards?
Well, there are spirits in both places.
Okay. Touche.
And some of the forests we talk about are definitely one of the forests is going to be that suicide forest that we talk about
Ooh.
in Japan.
Yeah.
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 So that one I think would be like a graveyard because there's
Probably. Yes.
lots of spirits there.
Yes. But what about like a forest that's just basically, it just has eerie, spooky vibes? You don't know necessarily that people have died there.
That's true. I mean, I think if you're wanting to actually use an actual haunted forest, you need to do some research to find
Yes.
out
Yeah,
what
that's
haunts
true.
it,
Hmm.
you know.
Yeah. Instead of, just going off of vibes.
Yeah, although vibes are important.
Yeah, they are. They are. I agree. I agree
Listen
with
to
that
your
one.
vibes. Yeah, listen to your vibes.
Yeah. But if you are a witch considering exploring a haunted forest, there are some practices to keep in mind. So, obviously, respect is one of those things that we just talked about. But
Hmm.
before entering a haunted forest, cast a protection spell to shield yourself from any negative energies or entities that may be lingering. You
That
can
makes sense
carry,
because
yes.
you hate the idea of something attaching itself to you. So,
Yep, I hate
yeah,
it. I
for
hate it so
sure.
much.
Hmm.
And my husband and I were just talking about this. We were talking about haunted locations because I think I can say this now because it comes
Hmm.
out on Friday and we're going on Friday. Well, maybe I shouldn't. Hmm,
It comes out Friday.
but we're going on Friday.
we won't have gone yet when this comes out.
Yes. We're going somewhere fun on Friday.
A
That has
haunted
to, yeah, that
location
has to do with a haunted location, and we're super excited. And so my
and
husband and
alcohol.
I, and alcohol, which is number one, obviously. My husband and I were talking about it, and we were talking about haunted locations and how the people who we're going to go see chose the venue and how it's all quote haunted, blah blah blah, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, I don't know, like he's kind of one of those ones who's like, if I see it, I'll believe it
He's
type
a
of thing.
skeptic.
Yes,
Yeah.
he is. And
Yeah.
now, I mean, I am too kind of,
My husband is too.
I'm more lenient and open to
Mm-hmm.
believing, but I'm also lenient and open to not believing. Like, but then I was talking to him, I was like, it's gonna be if none of this is real, like if nothing's haunted, right? Then
Mm-hmm.
it's such a boring world.
Well, and where would these repetitive stories come about
Right?
from?
So I don't know. We were just having this conversation, and I mean, and that's one of the points I brought up. I was like, how do you like explain a lot of the stories that you hear? And like, ghosts are like, quote, real, and maybe they manifest in different ways for different people. But then we started talking about attachments, and many people who have, quote, had an attachment have always had the same symptoms, like their
Mm-hmm.
lower back is hurting because
Mm-hmm.
that's where the attachment starts, and then it works their way its way up to the neck, and all of those, and there's like not just like one or two, there's like thousands of instances
Yeah.
like this. And so
All over the world. Yeah.
how do you narrow it down and be like, yep, those are all fake? Like how? So
Mm-hmm.
I don't like the idea of anything being attached to me.
Mm-hmm.
And we were having this conversation on whether it's real or not,
Mm-hmm.
because
Interesting.
we will never know.
Mm-hmm.
But you can always take extra precaution.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
always carry a protective talisman, such as black tourmaline,
Mm-hmm.
however you want to say it, or
Mm-hmm.
amulets to ward off malevolent spirits. It could be anything ancestral. It could be anything that you have in your craft that means protection to you. It doesn't necessarily need to be a specific type of crystal, a specific type of herb, whatever it may be.
Yeah. It's like, I think I've said this before. I read a lot of sci-fi fantasy books, and in the Mercy Thompson series, which is an excellent series, by the way, the vampires, relics of Christianity are what is supposed to, you know, vampires are afraid of crosses. Well, in
Mm-hmm.
those books, it's not the actual talisman, it's the intent behind it, like you're talking about. It's what means it to you. And
Uh-huh.
she didn't like to wear the cross because she thought that was a brutal reminder and a brutal way to honor Christianity. So she wore a little sheep
Aw.
on, and but to her that was a magical talisman. It was a
Mm-hmm.
protective
Mm-hmm.
talisman, but it's not what somebody else, they wouldn't wear a sheep to be protective. So yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
choose something. Don't just go, oh, I have to go get black tourmaline because Ren said that's what's going to protect me. No,
Yeah.
it needs to be what you
Something,
feel would
yes.
protect you.
Something
Yeah.
that, yeah. But that's why I said ancestor stuff, because I've been into it, you know.
Yeah, you
And
have.
I feel like your ancestors, if you have affiliation with your ancestors, or if you even feel like they are a thing,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they're always watching over you
Mm-hmm.
no matter what, and just doing like constant face palm,
Yeah,
apparent,
that's what I was just about
obviously.
to say. That's what mine are doing is, oh my God, girl, what are you doing
Yeah,
now?
like, are you kidding me? Right? Okay, sure.
Whopping
Yeah.
me upside the head.
Yeah. Anyways.
And then don't forget to take your divination tools with you,
Ooh,
because
yes.
that would be a really great place to do divination. So bring your
Mm-hmm.
tarot cards
Mm-hmm.
or your pendulums or runes or whatever it is. It would be kind of cool to do bone throwing
Mm-hmm.
in a haunted forest.
Whoa,
That
whoa,
would be
whoa.
kind of cool.
Wait. This has
What?
nothing to do with our topic.
Well, I'm just saying to go to a
Oh, no,
haunted
no, not what
forest.
you're saying. What I'm about to say.
Oh, what?
Okay.
Tell us. Tell
So
us now.
going to the haunted forest and bringing divination tools, I don't know why it thought made me think of the Fae and brownies and how sometimes they hide stuff. And then my brain
Hmm.
jumped to what I found the other day.
What did you find?
All this thought process just happened over like the literal 5 seconds that you
If
were
you give a
talking.
mouse a cookie, it's
Yeah.
that whole thing that's
Yes.
going on in Ren's brain
So,
right now.
so I don't know. I don't know why divination tools has no correlation. So we were where were we? It was yesterday and we were getting lunch, okay? And I
Okay.
was going to pay cash and I had a little bit of cash in my wallet. And so I was like, okay, I think I have about, maybe I had like 20 bucks, but it was all in like fives and ones, like obviously
Okay.
chaos, right? And so I'm like pining through my cash and I'm like poor waiter was waiting on me. I was like,
Hmm.
oh, I'm gonna do half cash, half card. So I'm like two fives and then the rest were in like ones and all of that. And I found a $2 bill.
Oh, wow.
A $2 bill in my wallet. I don't have $2 bills. I don't usually carry cash. It was very weird that I had cash on me. And then when we did have cash, it was like my husband had taken some out of his wallet and threw it like into our little table that we have by the front door with our keys and random trinkets. And so I like pick up the cash and I go through all of it like one by one each bill so I knew exactly how much I had. And so when I was
And
pining through all of the money, it popped up out of nowhere. It's like this crisp, almost new $2 bill.
that is crazy.
Right. And so I don't know why that divination tools made me think of that, but I was like, where did this come from? And is it a sign of like good luck? Is it a sign of something?
Yeah,
Like
what does that
new
mean?
things are coming? I don't know.
I don't know either. I haven't seen a $2 bill in years. I remember I got one
$2 bill.
when they first came out, and I think my dad was like, "Now keep this in a safe spot." And
Yeah.
who knows what I
Yeah.
probably
No.
spent it.
See, no, I have a $2 bill because one of my aunts who sadly has passed away, she
Hmm.
gave us I say us and me and my siblings, she gave us a $2 bill. And so I have that one still in I have like a little trinket dish, basically like a little altar type of vibe, with a whole ton of things that mean something to me. And that's at the very bottom. But this is like, here, I'm going to show you. Can I just pull out my wallet? It's like
Are $2 bills worth more than $2 nowadays, or
I
are they
don't
still
know.
just
I don't know. I would have to look. But let me
because
see.
they're rare? They only printed them for a set time, right?
Yeah, it's like it's so weird. And I keep looking at it like this isn't real. Like I don't have $2 bills and like the other cash that we got was from like this small store and they only like my change was like I bought something for like $1.80 because I wanted candy. I'm a child. And so I got myself a little piece of candy and it was like only a dollar eight like $1.20 because I got no, it was $1.80 and I gave them a 10. And so I got $8 and like 20 cents back, or however the math works.
Whatever.
Nine.
Yeah.
And so she handed me like a five and like two ones or something like that. Is she did not give me a $2 bill. And
That's
so
so
I'm over here,
weird. It's a sign, but I don't know what the
but I don't
sign
know from
is.
what.
Hmm.
I don't know, but I thought I would share that story.
Yeah, that's
I'm like,
interesting.
is it even real? I keep holding it up to the light. I'm like, am I getting pranked right now? How did this end up in my wallet?
I don't
I don't know.
know.
So it made me think of the Fae and how the Fae like to, hee hee hee,
Hmm.
like do things.
And
And
I imagine forests do have their own set
see,
of
and then
fae.
that's where my brain kind of jumped to. It was like
Yeah.
divination tools. Okay, cool. You could maybe talk to, like spirits and maybe you could
Hmm.
contact the Fae in some sort. That's where my brain went. I'm so sorry.
Okay. Okay, well
I have a
let's get
$2 bill.
back on topic now. Um, because haunted forests have such intense energies, not only are you going to want to do some kind of protection thing before you go in, but you're going to want to ground yourself and stay centered while you're in there. So you can visualize roots extending from your feet into the earth. And I would probably want to go barefoot or take off my
But
shoes once I'm
I
at the
mean, I
spot
would
that
say the same. Yeah, I would say the same thing, but I'm also germaphobe. So you also have to be
I
careful about
know.
what you're stepping on and ooh.
But just like, especially if you're going to do divination, like Ren was talking about, where you're doing astral projection type stuff, you
Hmm.
definitely want to visualize those roots and anchor yourself to the ground before you
I
do
guess
anything
that's
like that.
true. That's very true.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the one thing that I would say off of all of that is that keeping a journal to document your experiences, feelings, and any occurrence that may happen is very important. So it doesn't have to be one of those big clunky journals, just like a little
Yeah.
tiny hand journal to just kind of carry with you, because I think it would be very important, because I do this all the time where if I have an interaction or I do something, I do a spell, and then I'm like, okay, wait, what happened exactly?
Mm-hmm.
So it's always really important to write it down as it's happening or short after it happens so that you can kind of keep
Yeah,
account of what's going on and how you can maybe
that's what
work with
I
that
was
information.
I was thinking, it's not so easy to take notes while you're hiking around in the woods. So you might want to consider carrying a little recorder or
Oh,
use
yeah.
an app on your phone to record your thoughts
Mm-hmm.
as you're walking because it's hard to stop and say, "Oh, I got to write down that I felt chilled in this point," or whatever. If
Mm-hmm.
if you're
Mm-hmm.
recording, you can
That's
record it
true.
as you're feeling
That's very true.
that might
Now,
mean something.
I will say I hate listening to myself. Yes, as a person who has a podcast, yes, I
I know.
absolutely do hate
I
listening to myself.
I hate my voice. It's so awful. I
So,
don't
but
like it.
I think you get used to it as you start recording, that you can play it back and hear everything. You
Hmm.
just get used to it. But I just
Yeah.
don't think what I sound like on a recording is what I actually sound
I
like.
know. I feel like I don't either. Like I posted on TikTok yesterday, day before yesterday, a little snippet from one of our after darks
Hmm.
so that regular people, all
Wow.
of the regular people, not our
Wow.
supporters,
Wow.
could hear a little bit about
There's an
what we
insult
talk
in there
about.
somewhere.
I didn't mean it as an insult. But I was listening to it and I'm like, God, that's just terrible. Ren has this lovely soothing voice, which is why she does her Ren, what are they? The Ren
Whispering winds with
whispering
Ren.
winds. I couldn't do that because it would be like fingernails down a chalkboard and you're
Hmm.
supposed to be going into this meditative state and my voice is not anything that would help you be meditative.
Oh,
Okay. Anyway,
anyways.
so there are some legends of witches associated with forests. So we're going to talk about witches associated with forests, and we're going to talk about later about the actual forests.
Hmm.
And some of them kind of overlap because the witches of the forests obviously were in these forests that we're going to talk about.
That,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. So in European folklore, you've got Baba Yaga.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, she is one of the most famous witches in Slavic mythology. Well,
Hmm.
mythology, I don't know if she's not still out there or not. But anyway, she's often depicted as an old crone who lives in a hut that stands on chicken legs. And she
Hmm.
lives in this forest.
Have
And
we done a whole episode on her?
we might have, because
I
she's such
love,
a
yes,
cool lady.
yes. I
Because
love the
she's
story
not
of Baba Yaga.
inherently bad.
Mm-mm.
She's bad or good
Hmm.
depending on how she feels and what energy you bring with you when
Hmm.
you meet her.
Hmm.
But she's kind of both maternal and fearsome, and she might help you or she might hinder you depending on her feelings at the time.
Hmm.
But the forest setting emphasizes her connection to nature and magic and the wild, the untamed aspects of the natural world. She is a really cool chick. If we haven't talked about her,
We
we need
should.
to. Hmm.
Hmm. Hmm. No, I really love Baba Yaga, but there's also one called the Witch of Black Forest, which is
Hmm.
German folklore.
Hmm.
So, the Black Forest in Germany is steeped in legends involving many involving witches. I swip
I
swapped.
think it made sense the first way. Anyway,
Anyways, so one tale tells of a witch who could turn into a cat to spy on villagers, casting
okay.
spells to control or punish those who wronged her, which
Okay.
we all love a good, your moment revenge type of vibe, don't we? Um,
Absolutely.
and then one specific legend speaks of a place called Hexenloch.
Hmm.
Yes, okay. Woo, or Witch's Hollow, where witches were believed to gather. I love this. I love the idea of a witches gathering area.
Hmm. Hmm.
So this area is often mentioned in tales of witchcraft and is associated with mysterious happenings and eerie phenomena. My favorite word.
Phenomena. Boop, boo, doo, doo, doo. Phenomena. Boop, boo, doo, doo. Okay.
Are we gonna
Did you
get
did you
like
know?
censored there because are we on beat? They're gonna be like,
Uh,
yep, that's our song. You can't use that.
yeah, yeah. But did you know the Black Forest is where Hansel and Gretel took place? is
Oh,
in
I
the
guess I never
Black
quite
Forest.
pinpointed those to, like, it didn't like connect in my brain.
Yeah, I mean, the brothers Grimm who wrote Hansel and Gretel, we're going to talk more about the Black Forest later because it's actually not just the witches that are there, but the
Mm-hmm.
actual forest itself
Mm-hmm.
is mystical as well and famous.
Yeah.
But yeah, the brothers Grimm were the German writers that wrote all those
Yes, I love
fairy
those
tales, and
stories. Yes.
they're so dark.
It's very,
But
yes.
Hansel and Gretel actually took place in the
Hmm.
Black Forest.
Hmm. So there's another forest or the forest witches of West Africa. It's a
Okay.
part of African folklore, where
Okay.
in various West African cultures, forests are home to witches who can shapeshift into animals or other forms. Now, I feel like throughout a lot of history and a lot of cultures and um, groups, I guess, there's a lot of shapeshifting type of beings, which really
Mm-hmm.
I'm so intrigued by. I know we've done a whole episode on skinwalkers.
Yeah.
I
Well,
think that's
and
in our After Dark and vampires,
they
werewolves.
yeah, a lot of
Hmm.
transformation. But cats are always one of those beasts that witches are thought to shapeshift
That
into.
is true too. But these
Hmm.
witches are often seen as both protectors and threats, depending on their interactions with humans. A
So be
legend,
nice.
yes, absolutely. So a legendary figure in Akin or Akin,
I
Akin
don't know.
folklore, uh, Okomo, Okomo
Okamfo
Fo. Thank you.
Anoki.
I'm awful. I
Oh
shudder and
yeah, I
I'm so
should have
sorry.
said there's going to be a lot of really bad mispronunciations because we're talking about witches from Japan and witches from all these other places.
It's
So please, we're
we're
so
trying.
sorry. We don't mean
And
to
we even
offend.
look up like pronunciation beforehand and I
We
just
do. We do.
I'm sorry. So, um they were a powerful priest and witch doctor who wielded great magical power. He is said to have had control over natural elements. Phenomenal. I love that. And including the ability to command trees and animals in the forest. Now, how do
That's
you
so cool.
command a tree
I know, right? Unless they're trees like in The Hobbit
that can
where
move?
that can move. Yeah.
I do believe. I'm a firm believer that trees have like not feelings, but they can feel things.
I have no doubt they can. I think that their sound is beyond human hearing. But
Hmm.
like, there's an app keeps popping up on Facebook or something where, it's one of those apps on how to take care of your plants and it shows
Hmm.
them chopping off leaves and I'm like, this poor plant was harmed in the making of this ad. I don't like it.
See, I feel like they do, but then also I don't know, they might not. Who knows? I don't know.
I feel like they do.
And then in the Aziza
Yeah.
forest,
The is
the
it's
Ziz,
actually they're creatures in the forest.
they're creatures in the forest. So, oh yes, so they are forest spirits who are generally benevolent and provide good fortune. So they live in anthills and silk cotton trees in the forest and possess magical knowledge. Can I just meet one? That would be great.
I know, wouldn't that be great?
While not witches in traditional sense, their connection to forest magic is very significant. So, oh, we posted a TikTok. We're going off topic real bad. We posted a TikTok and it was about like stereotypes and like things that people like how am I supposed to say it? Things that are perceived as wrong but aren't wow.
I don't know what you're saying.
They are facts about witches that people don't believe in today because people usually think about stereotypes when it comes to
Oh,
witches. So it's like
yeah.
debunking those stereotypes. That's what I'm trying to say. Holy moly. And it was funny because in the comments, I guess it wasn't funny, but in the comments, somebody was like, witches is just like one title. We go by many things.
Hmm.
And I was like, yes, like absolutely. I didn't mean to offend anybody just by saying like blank just only
Witches.
witches.
Hmm.
But I said so-called witches and one of them, which kind of alludes to you can be called whatever you want. Like you
Yeah,
don't have to be called a witch and all
right.
of that. But I was like, yeah, you can absolutely be called like anything else. But
Hmm.
that's why when you say they're not witches in the traditional sense, like, but
But
define traditional
yeah,
sense.
that's right. That's right. That's
Hmm.
true. Yeah. what one person considers a witch, another person might not.
Yeah.
So in Asian folklore, you have Yamana no Baba,
Mm.
and she is a forest dwelling witch known for her malevolent nature. And she is believed to lure travelers into the forest to eat them.
Ooh,
Like
yum.
what is it about witches and eating? Usually it's eating children.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know.
But
It's maybe somebody didn't like her and said, "Well, she eats people," and then
yeah,
that's
maybe.
where it comes from.
But
Maybe.
she supposedly possesses this magic pot or cauldron that produces any kind of food or treasure. And
Can
so
I
that's
have that? Like, I don't
I
want to eat
know.
people, but I would love to have any type of food or
Well,
treasure.
people come to bother her to try to take it away from her.
Oh no.
So yeah, I would be a little malevolent too if someone was coming
Yes.
trying to steal my
Especially if
magic
it
pot.
comes between me and food. Mm-mm.
Right.
Mm-mm. No, no, ma'am.
So she actually uses it to tempt travelers and adventurers, leading them into traps or dangerous situations. But
Oh.
she also is one that can transform into different shapes and creatures. And
Oh.
in one tale, she transforms into a beautiful woman to deceive wandering travelers. And once the traveler is lured to her lair, then she eats them.
Eats
There,
them. I love
yeah,
that.
I know. Okay, you do you, girl. In South America, this is one, if we haven't done a topic on her, I would love to
I
do a
think we
topic on her.
briefly talked about her.
La Llorona,
Uh-huh.
and she is associated with rivers, and some of the tales place her within forested areas, which is why
Hmm.
I mentioned her here.
Yeah, isn't she one that like a lady in white that
Hmm.
people see?
She had drowned her children
Hmm.
either in a fit of rage or despair. We don't know why she did it, but now she wanders the edges of water
Hmm.
crying for them, and you hear this wail, and she is this sheer white woman draped with these
Oh,
white
that gives me
um
goosebumps.
and
Ooh.
she can be dangerous to any of those. Some
Hmm.
stories say that she tries to warn children to be good so that I guess their
Oh,
mothers don't
don't
drown
drown
them
them. Oh
too.
my
I
God, that's awful.
don't know. Isn't that terrible?
Wow.
Yeah.
There's the oh, I love these. So it's the North American folklore off
Hmm.
of this. So we're going to branch into a couple. So you have the witches of the Appalachian Mountains. And
Okay.
so the Appalachian region is filled with tales of witches who live deep in the forest, i.e., I wish I could be one of them,
Right. Me too.
practicing folk magic and herbalism. So these witches were often portrayed as healers, but can also be vengeful if wronged.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there is the White Witch of West Virginia, which is said to be a benevolent spirit who helps those in need. So, according to legend, she was a woman who practiced healing and herbal magic. After her death, didn't specify, her spirit continued to protect and aid the people of her community. She is
Hmm.
often depicted as a gentle and guiding presence in local folklore.
Yay, a good witch story.
Right?
Right?
Right. So I'm hoping she passed peacefully in old age. And then
Hmm.
from that old age, she was like, yeah, I'm gonna bless my community as it
Hmm.
grows.
I'm gonna stay here and protect them.
Yeah. And then we have the Blair Witch. Woo!
Yay.
I
I
love
think we did
I
talk
love these
about this one.
stories. Yes.
Yeah.
So this modern legend popularized by the Blair Witch Project in 1999,
Aren't they
the
coming out
movie.
with another one or not?
I think they did. They already came
Oh,
out with
they already
one.
did.
Like, I think the only Blair Witch that I've seen is the more current one. I don't think I've seen the 1999 one.
Oh, I saw the 1999 one.
I don't remember when the
I
other one
don't
came
know.
out, maybe like 2013 or something.
Yeah,
Maybe
I
I'm
don't
way
know.
too, I don't know. But the story tells of a vengeful witch haunting the woods of Burkittsville,
Hmm.
Maryland. Why can I say Burkittsville, Maryland, but I can't say other words? What the heck? I can't pronounce things properly, but I can pronounce Burkittsville.
Yeah, I'm right there with you.
So, through fictional through fiction, it taps into the deep-seated fears of the unknown lurking in the forest. And I
Yeah,
do remember the movie that I watched. It was like a stone building or something. I have not seen it in a long time.
same, same.
And it was like abandoned. It was this group of friends who was like recording or something. Can't quite remember. And they were like, yeah, let's go inside. And some weird stuff started to happen in the forest outside. And I don't really remember.
I think we did an episode on her because on the Blair Witch because I remember going into all the details that she is based on a real story of a
Yeah, I
real
just can't
person.
I can't remember.
Must have been an After Dark episode, I would guess.
I don't think so. I feel like I would remember.
Maybe we just were talking about it. I don't
Hmm.
know.
Hmm.
But in Celtic folklore, you've got witches of the Scottish Highlands, and
Hmm.
there's tons of tales about witches living in the forest there, and they're often associated with Druid magic, which makes sense because Celtic,
Yeah.
Scottish. And so the Druids were believed to have had control over natural elements. So there's some other famous witches that are associated with forests. You have the Pesta witches in Norway,
Ooh.
and in Norwegian folklore, Pesta is a personification of the plague, and she's often depicted as an old woman carrying a broom or a rake. And during the Black Death, it was believed that she was traveling through the forest spreading diseases. And people reported seeing this strange old woman in the woods who they believed was the witch causing the plague. And of course, these stories were rooted in the fear and superstition of that time,
Hmm.
but they also do highlight the connection between forests and witches and that kind of the story of witches and forests going together.
Huh. I like I like the individual, like I like the stories, but then I also like the individual like witches in these
Mm-hmm.
areas too.
Mm-hmm.
You also have the Witch of Wales.
Oh yeah, I have no idea.
Uh-huh.
Finondu.
I don't
Uh,
think
it's not do.
I'm
The DDU is not pronounced D do. I don't know how
I
you
think it's
pronounce
fun
it.
on D. Like
Okay.
I have on my other screen a pronunciation because I was trying not to mess this one up, but I just can't. So in Wales, Black Spring, Wales, there was I guess details. I'll get into the details a little bit first. So in the 19th century, a woman named Margad, I'm gonna say
Marged
Margad,
Burke Ethan.
Burke Ethan, I'm going to say Margat,
Okay.
known as Forest Witch of Wales, was reputed to live in the forest near Black Spring. So
Okay.
she was known for healing abilities and her deep knowledge of herbal and folk medicine.
Okay.
Locals sought her out for remedies and cures, and she was both feared and respected. Now, I could understand being feared because maybe you don't quite understand
Mm-hmm.
what her herbal remedies are and all of that. So I
Mm-hmm.
could understand that. There's no reason to banish somebody. Geez.
Mm-hmm.
So Margette's connection to the forest and its natural resources made her a powerful figure in the local community. Though she was often viewed with suspicion, she played an essential role in the health and well-being of her neighbors.
Well, that's a good thing. Another good
Yeah.
witch.
Yeah.
Okay. I like that one better than the one that carried the Black Plague, which really were rats, but okay, that's we won't
Yes,
we
I
won't go there.
guess. I guess.
So there's a witch in Spain, the witches of Zugarramurdi. Okay, Zugarramurdi.
Just
Okay,
say the witches of Spain.
the witches of Spain.
Uh-huh.
And in the Basque region of Spain, it has a rich history of witchcraft, and the forests around them that are central to many of these tales.
Hmm.
So in the early 17th century, there were a series of witch trials that took place there, resulting in the execution of several people accused of being witches.
Hmm.
And the accused were said to gather in the forests and in caves and perform their rituals and Sabbaths and there are caves
Oh.
known as the Cave of the Witches, and
Ooh.
it's now a tourist attraction.
Oh.
And there's an annual witchcraft festival held there every year that celebrates the region's mystical heritage.
We need to go.
Wouldn't that be cool?
That'd be so much fun.
Yeah, the dark,
Book us a ticket, buy us a ticket to Spain.
yes, the dark ancient forests of this area provide quite the fitting backdrop for these tales. And it makes
Yeah.
sense that a place where witches were executed would be haunted. That makes perfect
That it
sense.
does make sense. I feel like any place can be haunted if that's we have this whole discussion. If
We
I feel
do.
like any place can be haunted, period.
Hmm.
In discussion. So, famous haunted forests, such as ugh,
I,
Aokigahara in
Aokigahara.
Hara. Okay. Also known as Suicide Forest.
Yes.
Yes. So this forest lies at the base of Mount Fiji and is infamous for numerous suicides and that occur there,
Have
which I
you
think
heard
is
of this
so
one
sad.
before? Before
Yes,
doing the
yes.
research? Yeah, me
And
too.
there is a movie
Yes.
that I
There are
do.
several, but there's one that
There's one that's really, really, it's more recent, I feel.
yeah, I 2016, I think, because I wrote,
Yes.
I put a
Yes.
note to talk about it.
And it's besides the movies and everything, it's really sad. It's
Yeah,
really
this for it,
sad,
it is a very creepy,
heavy.
dark forest,
Hmm.
and we're going to tell you
So,
all about it.
and I mean, the energies there have to
Hmm.
be all over the place, but I feel like the veil has to be so thin with
Hmm.
like if there are as many deaths as there is like kind of quote reported,
Hmm.
then it's just so sad. And I feel like the connection to the other realm is so thin.
Hmm.
And like so like let's say you go there and there is like a person passes there or is yeah, passes there, then
Hmm.
do they even really understand that they're dead if that veil is so thin? Like, are they
Yeah,
just
I don't
stuck
know.
in
I
this
don't know.
limbo, this purgatory type of state? I don't know. But yes, it's at the base of Mount Fiji. And the forest is said to be haunted by restless spirits
Hmm.
of those who died within its bounds, like what I was talking about. Like, are they
Hmm.
stuck in like purgatory?
Yeah.
So the dense trees and eerie silence make it like a daunting place for visitors, and many report feeling a sense of dread or even disorientation upon arriving.
Yeah. And did you know that this is still today one of the most popular suicide spots in the world?
What is it that draws people
I
to that
don't know.
specific location?
Many people go there specifically with the intent to end their lives.
No.
So I don't know what it is about that forest that makes people go, I'm going to go to Japan and kill myself today.
And then that's
But
like you're leading up to it. Like
I know. But
it's
like,
more of a prolonged, like if you have to hop on a flight, if you're going there, like it's more of a prolonged thought out process instead of just like a instant, like I don't know.
yeah,
I've never
yeah,
thought of
I
this
know. It's
before.
crazy.
So it's
It it's so common suicides there that they've actually posted signs throughout the forest urging people to reconsider and seek help. And they're like little posters saying, "Your life is a precious gift from your parents," or "Please consult the police before you decide to die." So
oh
trying to
my
get
gosh.
people to, that's how common it is there. And in fact, local authorities and volunteers conduct an annual searches of the forest to find the bodies and help those that haven't yet committed suicide that are contemplating committing suicide, which
Annual?
annually they do this. Can you imagine the trauma on not only the volunteers, but the police, everybody involved? That's just crazy.
That's crazy. That ooh, it gives me the goosebumps.
Me
Ooh.
too. Me too.
So there's obviously a haunting atmosphere to it.
Hmm.
I mean, I know we talked about have we talked about this on the podcast or we just talked about this together?
Together, I don't know.
So it's characterized with this dense vegetation, which makes it easy to get lost. Like I feel like I'm pretty good with directions. If there's like a marker. So like if you
Mm-hmm.
drive by something or cities, I'm pretty good because I'm like, oh, you just turned right by the blah blah blah.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm like
Mm-hmm.
markers. I'm terrible at street names, but visually I recognize where I am and I know where to go.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're in this thick, dense like vegetation and everything
Mm-hmm.
looks the same, it would be so easy to get lost.
Yes.
The forest floor is covered with volcanic rock, making it difficult for plant roots to penetrate, resulting in eerie, silent, like an eerily silent environment. I messed that up.
That's
It's trying to be
crazy.
spooky, woo, but I just muttered and stumbled over my own words. So pass on the eerie vibes, I guess. So, in this location, too, compasses and GPS devices often malfunction due to the high iron content in the soil, adding to the forest's more disorienting nature.
That's
So, even if
crazy.
you go in there, like you feel like you're fully prepared,
Yeah,
you
I'm
are
good. I got
not.
a
Yeah.
compass. I'm not
Yep.
going to
I'll
get
be able to get
lost.
back. Yeah. You're not.
Ugh.
Even with GPS devices, it's
Yeah,
crazy.
that is crazy. There are history and legends that are associated with this forest. I mean, it's been associated with death for centuries, but it became infamous as a suicide spot in the 1960s. Each year, authorities find numerous bodies, although exact numbers are not disclosed
Hmm.
to avoid encouraging other people to do the same thing.
Hmm.
So you've got this tragic history that's imbued itself into this forest, and you can feel it. It's like a palpable feeling of sorrow and despair, apparently.
Hmm.
I've never been.
No. And I mean, was the no, I'm going to talk about the movie for a second. Was that movie actually recorded there, or
I
was it a
didn't
setting
I didn't look that up.
or like a general vicinity, but they didn't go into the forest itself or
I don't know if it was really filmed in that forest or
hmm
not, but it was The Forest is the name of that
yes.
movie, and it was a
Oh yeah.
2016 horror movie, and it centered. If this is the same one you're thinking about, it centers on a woman who goes there in search
Mm,
of her twin sister who
yeah,
has
yeah, yeah.
mysteriously disappeared, and it explores that eerie and the supernatural elements of this suicide
Hmm.
forest.
Hmm.
Yeah.
It's interesting. But according to Japanese folklore, the spirits of those who die in this forest, particularly by suicide, become the restless spirits.
Hmm.
These restless spirits are said to wander the forest, unable to find peace, which is so sad.
Hmm.
And visitors, because I mean, I feel like that's what you go there to find.
Yeah.
If you're in that much pain and struggling that much to where you go
Hmm.
to this forest and you do that, I feel like you're searching for that piece that you didn't have.
But you're not
And
going to get it there. So don't go
yes,
there and do that because you'll be
don't do
stuck.
it in general.
Well, don't do it in general. Absolutely.
But it's so sad in that way
Yeah.
because that's what they went there for, eternal peace, and now they have
No
eternal
peace.
unrest. Visitors often report feeling an overwhelming sense of sadness. Absolutely. I
Obviously.
don't even think you have to be an empath to be able to feel the amount of sadness that's probably
Yeah,
there and
for sure.
unease if they say that it's as if they're being watched by unseen eyes.
Well, I know one thing that is just horrible that used to happen here is the practice of ubasute. I don't know how to pronounce it,
Hmm.
but there are legends that say that during times of famine, families would practice ubasute, which is abandoning elderly relatives into the
Hmm.
forest to die
Yeah,
as a
I
way
heard
to
that one.
reduce the number of mouths to feed. And
I've heard of
so
that one.
that's just awful.
Hmm.
You've lived your
Hmm.
life, Grandma. Bye.
Yes,
That's
absolutely.
terrible. And I've heard the same with little children. I can't afford to have another child, so I'm just going to leave it out to
Yeah,
die.
leave the baby. Yeah, and I mean I mean this probably doesn't have anything to do with this forest, but there are some people who would leave their babies out as not offerings, but to have the fae take them
Yeah,
instead.
I think
Hmm.
we've talked about
We
that too.
have a little bit.
Changelings,
Hmm.
in the changeling episode, maybe.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
yeah.
it's
So yeah, people. There's a lot of things to haunt this
hmm
particular forest
oh
for
yeah,
sure.
yeah. So there's some chilling stories and encounters. So this isn't technically attached to the forest, the suicide forest, or is it?
It is. This
Okay.
is you'll
So
you'll
these are chilling stories attached
of
to of the
this
suicide
the
forest.
suicide forest. Yeah.
So you have the rope tree. Oh, I think, oh, what am I saying? I already know this.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I don't know where I'm at. The rope tree is where many visitors have stumbled upon trees with nooses hanging from their branches, remnants of past suicides, and the sight of those nooses swinging slightly in the breeze is very unsettling, obviously.
That would be
And
awful.
this really does feed into that a grim reminder of the forest's dark history that it has.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, mysterious voices are heard. People who venture into the forest report hearing strange sounds, including whispers and cries that seem to emanate from nowhere. That's gives me goosebumps.
Which I wonder if that's partly because of the volcanic base of that forest, how
Maybe.
that rock it
Hmm.
bounces sound.
Hmm.
I
And
don't
some
know.
claim to hear the voices of those unrestless, like the restless spirits,
Mm-hmm.
calling out to them, trying to lure them deep into the forest.
Why? Because they want company or what?
I don't know.
I don't know either. Supposedly people disappear there too. So a lot of
Mm-hmm.
stories are about people entering the forest and never being seen again. And that also enhances the reputation of this forest being really creepy and scary. Some people think that it's the restless spirits that are claiming the souls of those who venture in too
Mm-hmm.
far.
Mm-hmm.
It could be something as non-supernatural as they got lost,
Yeah.
or it could be something more eerie and supernatural, as in they are being claimed by the dead spirits there.
Mm-hmm.
And then personal belongings have been found abandoned in the forest, all throughout the forest, like tents and clothing and personal items. And those will either be from the people that came in and actually committed suicide. Of course, no one's going to be there to clean them up
Mm-hmm.
if they
Mm-hmm.
committed suicide. But there's also thoughts that it might be that people, the vanishing people that just vanished and never left, and their stuff is still there.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's this horrible, creepy ghost town type thing when you come across one of these
Oh
campsites.
yeah.
It's just very, very
It's like an
scary.
unsettling feeling.
Yeah, and I can't remember the end of that movie. I'm gonna have to go watch it again. The creepy one with the twin.
Mm-hmm.
She went looking for her sister, and it's a horror movie ending for sure,
Yeah.
but I can't remember.
Hmm. I can't remember either. I was just trying to think about it.
Yeah, I can't
Um,
either.
but another forest is the oh wow.
It's
Hoya
Romanian. We don't know how to
Bac
speak Romanian.
Baciu Forest, yes, is dubbed the Bermuda Triangle of Transylvania. So
Interesting.
this forest is known for its paranormal activity, including ghost sightings, strange lights, and mysterious disappearances. So witches are said to have used this forest for rituals, and for the forest's reputation as a hotspot for supernatural events makes it a fascinating, you know, terrifying
Scary.
destination.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, as if having the story of Dracula wasn't enough, they've got a Bermuda Triangle too.
Well, I mean,
Jesus.
it's rather interesting, their history.
Yeah, that is a lot of I think Baba Yaga actually might be from the Romanian region too. I'm not sure. A lot of really cool
Hmm.
stories.
Hmm.
And then the Black Forest that we talked about earlier in Germany, it's got lots of tales, partly because of the Brothers Grimm. I mean, the forest itself inspired them to write many of their tales, which, witches, werewolves, all of that kind of thing.
Yes, yes.
And it's believed to be haunted by spirits and is a very popular site for modern witches to practice their traditional paganism.
Hmm.
So modern witches in Germany today might go there as a place to hold a Sabbath a
Yeah, to have
celebration
like those
or
connections to the past.
mhm.
That'd be
I'm not
that should be
yeah.
really cool.
I wouldn't mind doing that because I've got German heritage. It would be kind of cool
Yeah.
to go visit that forest.
Yeah. And then you have the, how do you say that?
It's Wychwood,
Wychwood,
but it's pronounced, I mean, it's spelled W-Y-C-H,
Wych,
but
which
it's Wychwood. Yeah.
that's how I'm going to identify. I'm a
Well,
witch.
and I could be wrong. So someone might be listening to
Be
this
like
going,
face
nah.
palm, being like, duh, it's not. So sorry. But this forest is in England.
Mhm.
So in Oxfordshire, it is said to be haunted by the ghost of Amy Robsart. Shart?
Rob Zart, Rob Sart.
Sart? Shart. I added an H in there.
You
Rob
did.
Sart. The wife of Lord Robert Dudley. I can say that name. So, after her mysterious death in 1560, her spirit reportedly haunts the forest, bringing misfortune to those who encounter her, which makes me
Yeah.
just wonder, like, what is her
Yeah.
story?
The only thing I know of her story is that she was found dead at the bottom of a staircase,
Mm.
and no one knows how did her husband push her
Did
down?
she fall?
Did she fall? Did a staff member push her? Was it a ghost?
Mm-hmm.
But anybody that she appears to is supposed to die very soon after she appears
Oh, oh
to them.
no.
That's all I know about her.
I have that the forest's name itself evokes images of witches and magic, making it
Which,
a place of
yeah,
both
I mean,
historical, intrigue
being
and
called
supernatural lore.
Witchwood, I
Which
mean,
would, yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. I mean, there is a tale of a cursed tree within Wychwood Forest,
Oh,
according to
cool.
legend. Yes, we love these. Anyone who attempts to cut down the tree will be met with misfortune or even death. This
Huh.
tree is said to be protected by spirits of the forest, and the curse serves as a warning to respect the natural environment.
I kind of like that one. I've never heard of a cursed tree before.
It's rather interesting.
I
Now, if
like that
all trees were
idea.
cursed, then we wouldn't be able to make houses and
This is
all of
true.
that as well.
This is true.
I don't know, but we could also get
Then
into a
there
whole
is the
topic
who.
of humans and the environment
uh,
around us and how we overuse it. So,
Very true. Very true. Then you've got the Hoosac Tunnel in Massachusetts, which goes through a forest, apparently. It is located in western Massachusetts. It is known as the Bloody Pit.
ooh,
Yeah, it is a 4.75-mile railroad tunnel that goes through the Hoosac Range, which I guess is a forest. And its construction in the 19th century was just riddled with accidents, explosions,
ooh,
cave-ins, and caused the death of about 200 workers.
that's
And
awful.
so these forest areas surrounding this are said to be haunted by the spirits of those workers. And so that people will see ghostly apparitions, disembodied voices, strange lights.
Dang.
So interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. You also have the Freetown Fall River State Forest in Massachusetts.
Wow,
So
Massachusetts is rocking.
yeah, we're booming. So it's a southeastern Massachusetts where part of the infamous Bridgewater Triangle, the Freetown Fall River State Forest, is a hotspot for paranormal activity. It is associated with numerous legends, including sites of Bigfoot, UFOs, and ghostly apparitions. I love the Bigfoot sightings.
Me too.
So the forest is also linked to satanic rituals because we get a lot of bad rap
I
about those,
know.
but there's
I
nothing.
know.
Anyways, we always talk about this and murders,
Hmm.
adding it to its haunted reputation, like that adding to its haunted reputation. So visitors often report feeling unease, strange noises, and mysterious lights as well. See, the lights always get me when there's like when people are saying that there's like mysterious lights showing up in the forest. You're like, what kind of light? Is it like an
Yeah.
old lantern? Is it like a fire, like a little fire campfire type of vibe? Is it
Is
a
it a will-o-wisp?
flashlight?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like what do you mean mysterious lights?
Yeah. Did you know that in this forest, the Puckwudgies supposedly live there?
Haven't we talked about puckwudgies?
I think we have.
Okay.
They
We've
are
talked about
these
all of this apparently.
either that or we listened to and that's why we drink. And they talk about a lot of stories like this too on their
Hmm.
supernatural side. So maybe that's where we heard it.
Hmm.
But
I don't
these
know.
are these are small troll-like creatures from Wampanoag folklore, the
Mm.
Native American tribe. They are
Hmm.
said to inhabit the forest, causing mischief and sometimes harm to those who encounter them. Legend has it that the land that this Freetown Fall River State Forest
Yeah.
um, is cursed because of the Wampanoag people who were displaced.
Oh,
Obviously,
okay.
they
I
were
remember this. I remember.
kicked out
Yeah.
by the European settlers. And so they said that this curse is responsible for a lot of the strange occurrences that happened there. Um,
Interesting.
yeah. And then another one that we know about that we might have talked a little bit about is the Pine Barrens in New Jersey. It's located in southern New Jersey, and it's famous for being the home of the Jersey Devil. And that is a legendary creature that is said to have been born to a local woman named Mother Leeds. We might have talked about this in 1735.
Hmm.
And the forest is known for its ghost towns and eerie atmosphere. People have reported sightings of the Jersey Devil, strange lights. There's more of those lights again, and the
Yeah.
sounds of eerie wailing in the night.
Hmm. The lights get me. I'm like, what lights? What are you?
Mm-hmm.
Ugh.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh. They give me spooky vibes, which I guess is the point.
That is the point.
So there's also the green brewer, brewer,
Briar.
briar,
Mhm.
green brewer. Gosh, my
Like
brain.
a brewery? Are you wanting more
Brewery,
beer?
brewer. The Green Briar Ghost Forest in West Virginia. So the forest is named after the famous Greenbrier ghost, the spirit of Zona Heister Shoe.
Hmm.
Shoe. Yes. Okay.
Mhm.
So Zona's ghost allegedly appeared to her mother and revealed that she had been murdered by her husband. Oh, I remember this story. Wait a minute. Going through all these stories, I've been so confused. I mean, like, okay, yeah,
They
I
all
remember
sound
this.
so
Yeah, I remember
familiar,
this.
right?
I remember this one. So her testimony from beyond the grave helped convict him.
That's crazy.
I remember this one though. My gosh, I'm like getting lost. Lost in the forest.
Yeah.
So, the forest surrounding the area where she lived is said to be haunted by her restless spirit, with visitors reporting cold spots, ghostly apparitions, and the feeling of being watched. But while I was doing research on her after the the testimony and all of that, I feel like she wouldn't be restless anymore.
Yeah, you would think not,
Hmm. But I mean, I
because she would
guess,
have gotten her vengeance,
yeah.
her justice, I suppose.
Yeah, like her, yeah, justice is a good
Yeah.
word.
And then Bladenboro Forest in North Carolina is known for its legend of the Beast of Bladenboro, which is a mysterious creature that was said to have killed numerous animals in the 1950s. It
Hmm.
was described as a vampire-like beast and terrified the locals of the time. And it remains a place of strange happenings and reports of unexplained animal deaths and eerie howls and sightings of this large
Hmm.
shadowy figure. So that's
Hmm.
interesting as well.
Interesting.
Hmm.
I like all of these, but I also am such a chicken that if I had to deal with any of these in real life, I'd probably shit myself.
Well,
I'd be
there is
so scared.
the moral of a lot of these horror stories are don't
Don't,
go and do,
don't,
even
just
though
don't do
River's
it.
going, yes, let's go.
Yeah, I would let
Yeah.
you. Okay, bye. See you. Probably
River, you go
not.
first.
So here we have the Epping Forest, I think it's pronounced, in Maryland. So it's in Andra Arndell, yes,
Yeah.
Arndell
Hmm.
County, Maryland. So Epping Forest is associated with the hauntings of the Dr. Samuel Mudd House, where John Wilkes Booth was treated after assassinating President
I
Abraham Lincoln.
I have heard this one.
So the
Yeah.
surrounding forest is said to be haunted by Civil War soldiers and Booth's restless spirit. So visitors have reported ghostly figures, dismembered voices, and cold spots. But I feel like there's a lot that happens in those types of fields with Civil War
Yeah.
soldiers, and there's a
Yeah.
lot more that you hear and
There's a
feel,
lot of
especially.
death and pain and anguish in those
And I feel
spots.
like it might not be like, what's the word? Like intelligent hauntings. They're probably all residual
Mm,
because that's
could
such a
be.
traumatic time. It's definitely probably
Hmm.
imprinted onto the land.
I mean, and think beyond the Americans were new to this country. So think
Hmm
of all the wars and stuff that happened before the
Before,
Americans even
yeah.
came here.
Hmm
So yeah, lots of residual stuff going on there.
Absolutely.
And then Eldridge Park, New York, which is located in Elmira, New York.
Okay. Okay.
It was once a amusement park and it's been abandoned. So it's now like you see on creepy zombie movies
Oh,
with
that's
this
so cool.
amusement park kind of overrun and reclaimed by nature.
By nature, that's so cool.
And the forested areas around the park are said to be haunted by the
Ooh.
spirits of those who visited during their heyday, during
Oh,
its heyday. Ghostly apparitions, the sound of phantom carnival music, which is creepy, and the eerie feeling of being watched are all common reports from those who visit that site.
interesting. But I feel like you feel that feeling anywhere you go, like spaces like this, like especially that are supposed to be abandoned, like something just doesn't feel right because you're usually in a more put together society. And then when you go
Yeah.
to visit these things, it already feels off because it's not quite right.
Well, I creep myself out ahead of time
Oh, I do
too.
too. Yeah.
So, yeah, I walk in it like already.
Yeah. So
Oh
last
boy.
but not least,
Hmm.
the redwoods in California. I think we all have heard the redwoods in California.
Have you ever been there? I've been to the
No, I
Redwood
want to
Forest. It's
go.
beautiful.
Most of my friends have gone. I want to go.
Mm,
Um, but it is located in Northern California and it is vast and ancient redwood forests of these large trees, and
hmm.
it's home to numerous ghost stories and legends. And based on like the pictures I see of it are beautiful,
They are
but
gorgeous.
there was one that my friend showed me. She was like, "Yeah, I went when it was a foggy day." And it was
Oh,
like these massive trees, like you look like an ant next to them.
hmm.
Massive trees in this fog. Oh my gosh, it was eerie in itself.
Mm.
So one of the most famous tales is that of a lady in white. There seems to be a lot of lady in white tales.
Lot of white ghosts out there.
And ghostly figures standing and wandering throughout the trees. So the
Hmm.
redwoods' towering ancient trees create an atmosphere that it has that like build for ghostly tales. Like
Yeah,
it's
for sure.
meant to have this allure. And so many visitors experience strange occurrences from disembodied voices to mysterious lights. There's the freaking lights again
Yeah.
and all of
I
that.
didn't I didn't see any of that when I went there. I just remember feeling very insignificant in that forest.
You're
Like you
tiny.
said, you're like an ant.
You're tiny.
And
Yeah.
so I remember that feeling.
You're not
But
on the
I
top of the totem pole anymore
That's
when you're
right.
in there. You're
That's
so
right.
tiny. Oh gosh.
But that's all I've got. I think that
Yeah.
was a
I
fun
think it
episode.
really was. I know it, I mean, it kind of entails with witchcraft in
Hmm.
a way. Where what we talked about before and how you can integrate your practice into that.
Hmm.
I know we could probably talk a little bit more about maybe specific rituals that we can do. If you want something about that, we could probably do something on Patreon as like an after talk,
That's true. Let us know.
like an after dark on this episode.
Hmm.
So let us know. Um, but that's all we have. So if you liked what you heard, you can find more at www.c3witchypodcast.com. There we have links to all of our social medias. YouTube is our main one that we're working on right now, but we have TikTok, X, which is what's Twitter, Facebook. Facebook is the main one,
Hmm.
etc. And then we also have our merch, which we're changing some things up. We're really excited. But right now
Hmm.
you can go to www.c3witchypodcastmerch.com. There we have special limited edition designs out right now. It's you can only get it this season once and done. Mabin's coming up. No, Llamas is coming up.
Yeah. Well, actually, when this gets
Oh,
posted,
is it? Is this already?
it will be yesterday.
Oh, happy Llamas.
Happy Llamas.
What did we do? What have
Don't
we
know.
done to
I don't
celebrate?
know.
I don't know either. by the time this comes out, we'll have known.
Yeah, we'll know.
Um, but it's never too late because it's probably still out right now. We're probably going to be taking it down very shortly, so get them while you can. You can also find our newsletter. We put out our August newsletter. We have a Patreon page only, so go check out our newsletter on Patreon as well. We also do bonus episodes, after dark episodes, basically whole new episodes over there, same
Mm-hmm.
length and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what else? I think
I
that's
think
it.
that's
All
everything.
over the place. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you for supporting us. We couldn't do it
Yes.
without you.
Yes.
We'll be back.
We'll be back.
And until then, stay witchy.
Woo.